Hello, and welcome to another Idea Space Craft Along with the Public Library of Brookline. My name is Batya, and I'm the branch supervisor of our Putterham Library, and I'm here today to show you all how to crochet a square. This year, the library is delighted to be participating in the First Light Holiday Celebration 2022. First Light is an annual celebration where businesses and organizations around town host activities and performances to celebrate the winter holiday season. This year, we're partnering with Welcome Blanket Brookline to offer Welcome Blanket craft kits. These kits contain supplies and instructions to make crochet squares that will be turned into blankets for immigrants and refugees. You can crochet a square, or 3. Write a note of welcome. Welcome Blanket encourages crafters to share a family story of immigration, migration, or relocation, and bring your creations back to the library. Then Welcome Blanket Brookline members will turn everyone's squares into beautiful blankets. Let's begin. Round 1. Okay, today we'll start our pattern with a magic circle. If you've never done a magic circle before, I'm going to show it to you here, but there are other tutorials on either Creative Bug, which you can access through the Public Library of Brookline, or there were definitely several good YouTube videos on how to make a magic circle. So we will begin this way. You take your end of your yarn and you cross it over 2 fingers, and then you cross it over again and you make an X. And what I like to do is I like to hold it with my thumb against the bottom of my hand. So you take your hook, you go into the bottom side, then you move your hook over and pull the top over, or pull the top out, and then you move it. You kind of turn your hook and grab that top, and then you have your yarn. Sometimes it comes out a little wonky, so sometimes you do have to take it off of your hook and kind of straighten it out a little bit. So the important parts about your magic circle is you have your loop that you are going to crochet with. That's your crochet loop. Then you have your magic circle, and then you have this end piece, and then you have your working yarn. So the working yarn, I always like to wrap it around my finger. It creates tension that you use to work with, but it also kind of keeps it off to the side. So then you take your crochet hook, you move it into the loop, and the thing about the magic circle is what you're going to do is always have that end piece around the magic circle. So anything you do into the magic circle will go over both pieces. So the first step is you chain into the magic circle. So I'm going to rewrap, keep this end piece along the magic circle, and then the first thing we're going to do is chain into it. So here's my crochet hook. I go into the magic circle, grab some yarn. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Into the magic circle, grab some into the magic circle, grab some yarn, and sometimes you have to really hold the magic circle so that it doesn't move around and it creates enough tension for you. So here I've crocheted in, I've slip stitched into the magic circle. Then the next thing is I'm going to chain 3, and chaining 3 is actually going to build our stitch up to the double crochet that we need. So the next thing we're going to do is double crochet 1. So now in our magic circle we have chain 3 and 1 double crochet. And now we're going to chain 2, which just means you yarn over and pull it through the hole, yarn over, pull it through the hole, and then then you're going to do 2 more double crochet. So what we've just done is, once you see the pattern, is we've created a corner, and we're going to actually end up creating 4 corners. So we've double crocheted, then we take our crochet hook, yarn over, go into the magic circle, and then over our working yarn, grab some so that you yarn over, and then you go into the first 2 loops, and then you yarn over again, and then into the second set of 2 loops. So that creates 1 double crochet. And we're going to do that 3 more times, or 2 more times. So this is 2. And this is 3. So from here, we've now chained 3, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. And now we're going to chain 2 again, because we've now created another side, and we're going to make another corner. So once we've chained 2, we're going to do another set of 3 double crochet. So this is 1 double crochet, this is 2 double crochet, and this is 3 double crochet. Now if you've never double crocheted before, like I mentioned earlier, there are great videos on Creative Bug, which you can find on the library's website, or you can also find some great videos on YouTube as well. So I've done another series of 3 double crochet, and I'm going to chain 2 again because I'm moving on to that next side. So we have so far 1, 2, 3 sides. So I've chained 2, and I'm going to do another set of 3 double crochet. Now if your magic circle is getting kind of awkward to work with, you can also tighten it a little bit, and I'll show you like sort of the magic of the magic circle in just a moment. Okay, so I've now double crocheted another 3 times, and then the next one is we're going to chain 2 more, and then just 1 double crochet. And the reason for this is this will act as our 3rd of the first set of double crochets. So the chaining 3 at the beginning acts as the first stitch of the double crochet, and it gets you to the right height that you need, and then you double crochet. So this last piece is the 3rd of the first set of double crochets. And now with your magic circle, the reason why it's called a magic circle is that end piece that you had been looping onto. Now forgive me, my yarn's a little kind of falls apart. Likes to unravel. So if you tighten it, it actually tightens the circle. I think this is because I lost some yarn. So we'll tighten this, and then everything tightens into a circle. So as you can see, this is the magic circle. So now from here, you're going to slip stitch into the 3rd stitch of your chain. So if we can see it, it's 1, 2, and it's pretty much like the top of your chain. And slip stitching is you just go into your stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through. And what that does is it closes the magic circle and gets you ready for your next round. So then the next step is you're going to go into your first hole, and yarn over, and we're going to slip stitch into that first hole so that we really are set up for our next round. So that's what my round 1 looks like. Round 2. Okay, round 2. Okay, so now we're ready for round 2. So we've already slip stitched into our hole, and then we're going to chain 3. And once again, chaining 3 builds you up high enough to double crochet. And we're going to chain 3 and do 1 double crochet, and then we're going to chain 2 because we're making a corner, and then we're going to do 2 more double crochets. 1, 2, and that's our first corner. Now the instructions tell us to double crochet into each stitch on the side, and so for this second round it's going to be 7 stitches. So the first 2 stitches count as our 2 stitches after our chaining 2, so we have 1, 2 already. Then it's 3, 4, 5, and then the next 2 into the hole is our last 2 double crochets. So first, here's the first one. So we're going to chain into the stitch. That's 3. And this is 4. And this is 5. It's kind of hidden, so it's hard to see, but this is it right here. So this is 5. So you're not going immediately into the corner hole. You're just going into the stitch right before it. And now we're right into the corner hole, so you're going to chain 2. You're going to double crochet 2 so that we reach 7. It's really important to keep your stitches straight because this pattern is very specific, and so you need to make sure that you're keeping your stitches correctly and keeping track of your stitches. I sometimes use a stitch counter, but sometimes I just make sure I count and recount. So you might see me counting and recounting a lot in this video. So I've chained my first 2, or my last 2, so that's 7. Then I chain 2, and I will start again with my double crochets along the side. So this will be 1, 2 into the hole, and then the third stitch starts in the side stitch, the side of the stitch. So that's 3 double crochet, 4 double crochet, 5 double crochet, and the fifth stitch tends to be a little tighter, so it's okay if you kind of have to work your crochet hook into it. So that's 5, and now 6 and 7 go into the corner hole. And you also want to make sure you watch out for the tension. Sometimes we tend to crochet too tightly or too loosely, so any of that will make it appear a little bit lopsided if you don't keep kind of the same amount of tension. So far we've done 1 side and 2 sides, and now we're working onto our 3rd side. So it's kind of hard to see where our 3rd side is. That is our hole, so don't lose track of it. Like I said, I'm using kind of a very loose yarn, so it makes it look pretty, but it's also kind of hard to keep it raveled. Alright, so we've done our 2 into the slot. Now we'll chain 2, and we'll do our 2 more double crochet, so that we start the third side. Alright, that's our 2 double crochet. Now we're going to double crochet into the side, another so 2 and essentially 5 total. So that was 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Remember, the 5th one is always kind of at the top, always a little tight, so we might have to work through it. And that's 5. And then the last 2 go into the hole at the corner. So that's 6 and 7. Alright, now our last side of our second row will act a little bit differently. We'll end it with 5 stitches instead of 7, because remember, those first 2 that we did will actually act as the last of the stitches. So on each of these we had 7 stitches per side. So when we're closing up our circle or our square, we're only going to crochet 5 stitches. So we're going to double crochet. That's 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. And sometimes they get a little tighter at the end, and this is 5 right here. And then remember, our first 2 that we did will actually act as the last of that row. So now, just as we did in the first round, we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the first stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3, and the 3rd tends to be at the top. And slip stitching is just grabbing, yarn over and pull, and then yarn over through your working loop. And then, so now we've closed up our second round, and then we're going to go into our corner and slip stitch so that you're fully closed and ready to set up for the next round. So that is round 2. Round 3. Okay, so far we have done our first round and our second round. And now we are just about ready to start our third round. So to start our third round, we've chained into the 3rd chain of the first stitch of our chain 3, and then we slip stitched into that, and then we slip stitched into the first corner, and now we're going to chain 3 again, just like we did in the second round, so that we get up to the same height as the double crochet. And so we've done our chain 3, and now we're going to do 1 double crochet, and then we're going to chain 2 because this will make our corner. And then we will do 2 double crochet, and then that starts our first side. So the 2 double crochet stands as our first 2 stitches of the side, so we are already at 1, 2. And then this next round we're going to have 11 stitches across. So we have 1, 2, and it's really important to keep track. So we have 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the other two go into the corner. So we're going to skip this first stitch. It looks like a stitch, but we're going to skip it. And then so it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and remember 9 is at the very top, and sometimes it's a little harder to work through, so you just kind of have to work through, yarn over, and just kind of work through again. If you have to do it twice, like pull it out and then pull it back in, that works as well. Sometimes it just loosens up that stitch a little bit. And then yarn over and yarn over. So that's 9. And then we're going to double crochet, 2 double crochet into the corner space. And that's 11. So that's our first side of our 3rd round. And now we're gonna chain 2. Now if you I'm gonna stop here for a quick second. If you notice that like your sides don't look even, or you think you might have skipped a stitch, or you know, stitched too many or doubled your stitch by accident, that's okay. You can always take it apart and do it again. I've done that more than one occasion. So it's totally okay if you end up having to do that. So I have my 2 into the corner, and I've chained 2, and now I'm going, which makes my new corner, and then I'm going to do 2 more into that corner, so that starts my side. So we have 1, 2. Once again, we're going to skip that first stitch that looks like a stitch, but we're not going to use it. And then this is 3. Then this is 4. 5. 6. I'm just going to fix this loop. Okay. So we're at 6. This is 7. This is 8. And this is 9. And remember, 10 and 11 go into the corner. So this is 10 and 11. So now we've done 1 side and 2 sides. So we have 3 and 4 to go. So then we chain 2 to make our next corner, and 2 double crochet into that corner, and that starts our next side. So remember, we're going to skip that first stitch, and this is 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 is right on top, and 10 and 11 go into our corner. And then, so now we're at our last side, and remember our last side is a little bit of a abbreviated at the end, so instead of doing 11 stitches, we're doing 9 stitches. So we're going to chain 2 to start. And the reason why we're doing 9 stitches is because these 2 stitches serve as the 10 and 11 for this side. So we can count to make sure. So we've chained 2 and 2 double crochet into the corner. Then sometimes you forget to yarn over first, so this is 3. This is 4. This is 5. And sometimes you find that you've actually haven't done enough, so you have to go back and erase it. So I went back to the first crochet into the first of the crochets into the corner, or the first of the line. So we have 1, 2. This is 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And this is 9. Alright, so those completes the stitches of our third round, but we're not done yet. We're going to slip stitch into the third stitch, into the third chain of the first stitch. I think I yarned over too many times. Let's try that. So we slip stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through, and then we're going to slip stitch into the corner to get set up. So we slip stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. So now we are set up for our fourth round. And as you can see, it's starting to look like a square. Round 4. Alright. And now we're on to round 4. So to start, we've already slip stitched into the corner, and then we're going to chain 3 to get to the height of the double crochet, and then we're going to 1 double crochet and then chain 2, and then we're going to double crochet twice into this corner slot. And that starts our first row. So for this row, we start with 15 stitches. So if you remember, it starts with these two. The two after the chain two starts the beginning of the row, so that's 1, 2. And now we count 13, and then 15 and 6, and then 14 and 15 are in this next slot. So this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, sometimes you drop a stitch, it's okay, you can just put it back on your hook, get it back. So once again we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. This is 8. This is 9. 10. 11. 12. This is 13. And then this is 14 and 15 into the slot. And you do that for the rest of the rows. Or the rest of the sides. So that's 3. That's 4. into the corners. Okay, and we're back. I've crocheted along each side. This is the 4th round. And so we're going to do something a little differently now. We're going to slip stitch into the 3rd stitch of the 1st stitch. And then, as before, we're going to slip stitch into the corner slot. And so now we're set up. But instead of chaining 3 and going another round, we're actually all done with our squares. So we are going to cast off. And the way we do that is we yarn over and slip stitch into the slot. But instead of continuing with the our chain stitch, we're actually just going to cut off the yarn and pull it all the way through the loop, and then pull it tight, and that is your casted off square. So all you have to do is return these to any public library of Brookline location, either our Brookline Village location, our Coolidge Corner location, or our Putterham location. And the members of the Welcome Blanket Project organization will turn these into a welcome blanket. Thank you very much for crafting with me. Have a great day.